Hi guys, and welcome to this week's video. I'm on a quest on a bright sunny day at this rather awesome place. How about a place called Seacliff in Scotland? When I say Scotland, I've literally just dipped my toe into the Scottish border and I'm on the east coast. I cannot begin to explain how cool this place is. If you've never been here as a landscape photographer, if you can, I certainly would urge you to. Now, before we begin my quest, let me just give you a quick tour around the place. That rather splendid place is Tantallon Castle. Over my shoulder, that you'll probably struggle to see on this camera, there is an amazing lighthouse. Just a cool looking small lighthouse, but it's so photogenic. And then there is this incredible island called Bass Rock. Behind me here where that brown rock is, there's a fantastic looking harbour. It's beautiful to photograph as well. And I haven't even included the luscious white sandy beach. This place is the gift that just keeps on giving, and that's why I keep coming back here. Pretty much at the exact same time 3 years ago, so in 2020, I came here, created a vlog and took some pictures. I was happy with them, thought they were great. Somebody contacted me. If it was you, by the way, I really apologise, but I kept the information that you gave me, but I didn't make a note of your name. I do apologise. But he said, I can't believe you came here and you didn't photograph the sinkhole. Having said that, not many people know about it. So I, obviously being very inquisitive, I was straight back, sinkhole? Sinkholes are really cool for foreground interest. He then sent me a map and said, next time you're in the area, look for this sinkhole because it is an incredible form of interest in the foreground to take a picture of. Foreground interest, a sinkhole. I mean, what's not to like about that? So armed with this picture, this overhead picture that he sent me from 3 years ago, I'm now on a quest to try and find this damn sinkhole. The only problem is I've now got to try and decipher this picture as per when the tide was in, because he sent me this picture when the tide was in, but he also said to me that you've got to come when the tide's at a certain height, and I can't remember what that was. It's quite a low high tide tonight, so I'm not altogether sure if I'm here at the right time, but nonetheless, I'm here in the area, so I thought let's have a bit of a challenge, just challenge myself to try and find this sinkhole. If it doesn't work out for me tonight, at least I'll know exactly where to come back to next time. So that's what this video is all about.
Well, I've just walked in amongst all of those.
So maybe this here is one of those big ones. So that there looks like that could be the curve there. Not unless it's further round.
Further round there. I've been right all the way around there. Oh, I've been right off of these now where the channels are in.
Is that it? I mean, that looks obviously circular, but I wouldn't have said that that was the sinkhole, because when water starts coming over these rocks over here, they're not going to drop down very far in there. They're just going to fill up and come up and up and up, and that's really it. Interesting though. Hang on. That's the first one we found. Right. I'm wondering if this is what he meant, this here. Crikey. If this is what he meant, that means that the tide will have to be a long way out. I mean, that is interesting there. It's fairly large, and it would make for a nice foreground interest for Tantallon Castle. Right, let's study this map again and see if this is it. Right, so according to this map then, I think this is definitely the sinkhole, and in which case I could have sworn he said to me that you need to be here at a very high tide. Clearly you need to be here at a very low tide when the tide is out and just starting to come back in. So if anybody is interested in this sinkhole, well, I won't give the location away 100%. I don't want to upset the local photographers, but yeah, that's it. Damn. So that means now I can't utilize this as foreground interest, which is really annoying, because I must admit it does look cool, but the tide at the moment is at least 2 foot above the lowest wall, which would constitute a sinkhole as the tide's coming in. Okay, right. That's that then. That was a quick adventure. The sinkhole in here and this other deep crevice here, they both look very interesting for foreground interest anyway, more so when the tide is out. But what I'm going to do, just as a point of reference, because I'm up here for another week, so I can quite easily come back up and take another picture, I'm going to put my polarizer on. I'm going to look through this glare of the water and look to see what, at this present moment in time, I could have had. Look at what you could have had. Just as a point of reference and a point of interest. And then I'll probably move on from here and come back after the weekend. I've got a couple of Nissi workshops and a couple of my own workshops and a one-to-one this week, so I'm very, very busy. But next week, before I head back down south, I could quite happily come back up here, get my timings right with the tide, and come and photograph this. Just going to set this up properly, because I must admit, even though I'm not seeing it really as a sinkhole, it still looks really nice. It seems to be very dominant in the frame. That's the only slight issue. But look, let me just set my camera up. I want to take a long exposure, flatten that water out like I normally do, and then just see what this image will look like. Do you know, while I'm waiting for this 2-minute exposure, I'm just having a look around, and this here as a sinkhole, like I say, with the tide out, would actually make for a very nice foreground interest, looking out to Bass Rock and looking out to the lighthouse in the background as well, or minimalistic feel looking straight out to sea. So what a great point of interest. Now this has got me more enthused. I'm a bit more excited now. I do like this, it's really cool, but I do think that the sinkhole in this instance is a little bit overpowering. With the tide lower down and the water gushing over to make it look like a proper sinkhole, then it might be even more overpowering in the image. But certainly very quirky, certainly very interesting. Yeah, I'll show you this picture now, but it doesn't look as exciting as if I was speaking to you on the phone, for instance, and I said to you, hey, I've got this sinkhole. When the water's coming in, you know, the sinkhole looks amazing. Then you'll formulate a picture which isn't what I'm about to show you, but you'll get an idea of what it's like. But I must admit, it is quite overpowering in the image. But having said that though, yeah, I still want to try it. I do. I'm going to come back next week and give this a whirl. Got to be so careful when you come to places like this, because I'm getting carried away. I'm taking 4-minute exposures, and now I'm taking a picture of the lighthouse at a 4-minute exposure, and before you know it, the tide has come in and around you. And yeah, it could be a little bit daunting, a little bit scary at times. I'm perfectly fine as it is now, but can't tell you the amount of times I've been caught out in the past. Take a look at that, guys. Take a look at that. That on a long exposure is so conducive to my style of fine art photography. A long exposure, we get the streaking skies. I mean, they look streaky as they are now, without any movement or without adding a 10-stop or a 15-stop filter. But yeah, but that over 4 minutes is just delightful. Love that. I'm gonna grab another one more for the road, as they say. Right, so it's a blink of an eye for you guys, but it's literally 5 days for me and I am back. Now, I've got everything right. The tide height is right. It's a really blustery day, so in theory there should be lots and lots of waves. So the conditions in theory should be conducive to this sinkhole to be used as a foreground for whichever background I choose. Unfortunately, it's anything but. You could probably tell by the wind noise on the microphone that it is really breezy, it is really windy, but where I am now, there's hardly any waves at all. And therefore, this sinkhole isn't going to appear like you imagine a sinkhole to appear, with water crashing over, and you want that half a second or 1 second exposure with the waves dropping down and all those bright veils around the hole, which would in theory happen right now if we had waves, and we haven't, which is a real shame. So best laid plans and all that. Okay, I suppose I'm not really too disheartened by it, and the only reason why I say that is because this is the beauty of this very thing we call landscape photography. You know, you can't always gauge when the right time is, when the right height of the tide is going to be, when the conditions are going to be perfect. Yes, you can guess most of it and you can calculate for most of it, but of course, like today is proven, it doesn't always go to plan. So I shall do the only thing you can do at times like this, and that's just make the most of it. I'll grab a few shots from here, I'll grab a few shots from this amazing location, right smack bang in the middle of the day as well, and I shall include them in this video, and then I'll bid you farewell. And like I said, I'll leave this one for another day. I've got to say a massive thank you to everybody who took part in this competition. The amount of people who entered is staggering. I expected to receive around 100 emails, and take a look at this. I received an incredible 1,768 emails. The video itself had 756 comments, which is also staggering. Before I make the draw, let me just remind you of the rules once again. The first thing you had to do was spot the email address, and clearly lots of you did. Secondly, leave a comment, just say email sent, or words to that description. And last of all, you must be a subscriber. Now, I'm not entirely sure why I've received nearly 3 times as many emails as comments, but I could probably guess. After a long head scratching session, I decided the fairest way to draw a winner was to add the 756 comments into an online random generator thing and match the number selected against the commenter's name and ensure the other two rules had been applied. If the comment doesn't match the criteria, I'll redraw the number. That's the simplest, the easiest way for me, and I think the fairest. So this is how I did the draw. First, I went to ChatGPT. I wrote, write a list of sequential numbers from 1 to 500 in vertical format, one number per line. And secondly, write a list of sequential numbers from 501 to 756, also in vertical format, one number per line. I then added all the numbers to an online random generator thingy. In case you were wondering, this is how the generator looks with only 10 entries. This is how it looks with 756 of them. Right, we're all set. Good luck, everyone. And the winner is... So scrolling down 79 places, we end up at a gent by the name of Peter T. And if you look at the channels that he follows on YouTube, I'm one of them. So that's the criteria well and truly met. Congratulations, Peter. Do me a favor though, drop me an email, Peter, please, if you don't mind, with your postal address on it. Thank you very, very much indeed to everybody who took part. And thanks to iFootage for supplying such a great prize.